Welcome to the E.A.T podcast. It's episode number 15. I'm your host, Jerry. Big guy on the other side is Russ. Russ, how you been? How was the vacay?
Good. We're a little under the weather today, so
Yeah, I got that feeling too with the it's cloudy and rainy here where I am.
yeah. I didn't go to work today, not really feeling it.
All right, well, we had a good week off and we had a chance to recharge the batteries and recoup. And now we're back at it. A lot happened in the last week or so since we haven't been on. But right away from the get-go, Richard Branson beat Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and the rest of the billionaire crew in the space race as he went up 53 miles above the Earth's surface before returning for a safe touchdown the other day. Russ, what are your thoughts on this? It's a bit like we've been saying, it's the battle of billionaires. This guy has his own company, had his own jet, rocket, goes up 50 minutes, whatever, half an hour, whatever he's doing, comes back down. First one to do it. It costs like $300,000 to do it with this guy too. It's not something cheap.
Yeah, it's cool. Probably about a week or so ago, I didn't even know he was. I mean, he's always done flight stuff and stuff like this, but I didn't even know he was involved in the space race up until about a week ago. And just kind of, I guess, secretly kind of did all this stuff and blew past everybody.
Yeah, it wasn't the 26 million or 28 million that the Blue Origin and Bezos company auction that they just had a few weeks prior. I mean, this wasn't even anywhere near that price tag, and they did it immediately, 1, 2, 3, and now they're back, and they're going to make this a big thing now. If you have the money to go into space, you're going to be able to do that with a couple of different companies.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool concept. So,
all right, moving on.
Maybe
moving
you can
on,
dispel some of the numbers.
Moving on to the next part of current events here. Britney Spears denied the right to end the conservatorship that her dad has over her right now. And several people spoke up against the court's ruling, which her mom being one. I just think that this whole thing, I mean, she's an adult. She changed her life. She everything on track. She wants to have more kids and can't. She's settling down. And she's got like $60 million in the bank, and she can't do anything with it.
Yeah, I don't get this. If she can handle herself, she's not like a threat to society. I don't understand why she can't just manage her own stuff at this point. I'm sure she still has a manager herself. But I don't understand this, and I don't understand how her dad's in charge of it, but her mom has nothing to do with it. This whole thing's weird to me.
And then she has a sister too who's chiming in on this, and the sister has nothing really to do with it, or she has something to do with it, but her dad's got the final say. I mean, it's all weird and convoluted, honestly.
Yeah, I don't understand how she doesn't. Like I said, is if she can handle herself, she wants to have more kids, and she's, I guess, gotten rid of her demons or whatnot. Like I said, she's not a public threat. What's the, let her handle her own shit.
I mean, honestly, have you seen her on TMZ and drunken poolside, getting thrown off balconies, and belligerently drunk and a bad parent or anything? I mean, I haven't seen it lately. I mean, I'm not sure what all this bad news around her that the court thinks is still happening. I'm not seeing it. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's more behind the scenes than we know, but I don't know. It's kind of strange.
I think it'd be on TMZ, honestly. All right, and also the NCAA finally is allowing athletes to make some kind of money on their likeness after years and years of this being a battle in the courts. Now, what are your thoughts on this before I get into mine? Because I have a few.
I'm torn, and a lot of people view it as they're getting a paid ride through colleges that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. But I do understand that obviously they're, especially Division I athletes, they're so locked up with practices and everything that they can't have jobs, they can't have anything. So I've always understood that at least I've always thought maybe there should be some sort of weekly allowance. Obviously, it would have to be spread out amongst the school student athletes, not just football or basketball, whatever. You'd have to include the other sports, just to give them something, or even you know, allot them certain monies to buy plane tickets home, because not all of them come from money. This, though, allowing them to make their own deals, I think kind of gets a little crazy. I mean, you had Masterpiece's son sign a $2 million deal, and I don't know, plays like a Division II school or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And he's not even like anything special. But now think about it. Now you got this kid on your team, this 18, 19-year-old kid getting a $2 million. There's going to create some. It's going to create some problems, I think, and not to mention, even with just regular athletes, you got kids that are, let's say, on the tennis team that are world-class athletes, but they're not on the football team making the millions, and all of a sudden now you got players in the football team, let's say Alabama, making several $100,000 but then you got other players that they're not going to get deals because they don't play in those sports. That's why I'd rather see like almost like I said, like an allowance through the school with all the profit. Not to mention too is you even take like on your own team. Now you got a 19-year-old receiver that's making $1 million a year off his name, and you got a left tackle that's probably 10 times better talent-wise than he is. That's going to be a number, but nobody wants to endorse the tackle. They want to endorse the big flashy name. It's going to cause a lot of resentment on teams, and that's really stuff that's supposed to be reserved for the big boys, the NFL, and you have your agents and all this stuff, not for kids to make millions. They should be allowed to get something with the mass profiting off their names and everything, but I'd rather see it as more an allowance by the school, but distributed through the entire student body, athlete body, rather than these kids making their own deals. It's going to cause a lot of resentment. Like I said, you're going to have players arguing amongst teams. I don't really like it this way, but it is what it is. I see Barstool opened up a thing, for athletes to come on and help them. And, like I said, I do agree that they should be able to have some money. And it's going to be, like I said, what's to stop a kid to make a few $1 million in his first freshman or sophomore or junior year and say, fuck it, I'm not coming back, or I'm not leaving, or even go to school. What's to say that this kid,
I'm wondering, based on that thought that you just said right there, does this endorsement money keep them in school a little bit longer?
Maybe yes, maybe no. You might have a kid that says, all right, I don't know if I'm not going to be drafted top, first round, but at least this money's keeping me here. There's also the ability of, like I said, his kid has a monster sophomore year, gets a deal with whatever for $1 million, and then junior year comes in and says, screw it.
Yeah.
I don't need to go to class. I don't need to do this. And next thing you know, now they're it's like I said, it's going to create the wild, wild west here. You're going to see a lot of different personalities making a lot of different money, and I don't necessarily agree for it to be done this way.
So my thought on this is you have the big football teams, and we'll go with Alabama, LSU, Georgia, those guys. The big ones we see every year, even Notre Dame, but they're independent. They go to these conference games, conference bowls, win the championships. They have their own endorsements to begin with as a school from Nike or whoever else, Adidas. Then you go to the bowl game and you win X millions of dollars for the bowl being there. And where does all the money go? You look at the big basketball teams like Duke, North Carolina, to name a few. They are on national TV. They are flying all over the place. They're treated like world-class first-class citizens with the deals that these schools have and the amount of money these schools make. And the athletes, they're treated well, but they don't see the money. But, okay, they're playing, with Krzyzewski. They're playing with Dean Smith back in the day. They're playing with all the big names, big spotlights at Madison Square Garden for the big things. You go to the Maui tournament like you used to see Duke do back in the day. You're getting all these things afforded to you, but you're also getting an education. And that's the main thing associated with this. Yeah. Yes, the argument is they should be getting paid, but they are getting paid with the degree that they're going to attain, whether it's through a full scholarship a partial scholarship, or yes, maybe they paid some. If you're going to pay certain athletes, you are going to create animosity. You are going to create an issue because I think certain athletes aren't going to go to some big schools if they can go to a smaller school and stand out and make some money as opposed to being just in the mix.
That's a possibility too.
I mean, you look at Duke's recruiting class. This is Krzyzewski's last season. This recruiting class apparently is almost all world, or one of the best ones he's ever put together for his kumbaya season. These guys as a group, sure, they might go win national championship, and they might make a little bit of money on the side. But if the top 2 or 3 players from this recruiting class were spread out among other schools, they probably could make more money separately with their talent somewhere else. So
it's possible, but at the same time, you're not going to get the same media coverage as well.
No, you're not. But so, I mean, the almighty dollar does speak.
If you're standing out at a small school, you may get the attention of some scouts for beyond school, but I don't know if you get the same attention. But I know what you're saying with it.
So, I mean, the end goal is to get a college degree, whether it's reduced price, and don't even get me started on college tuition. It's insanity. I mean, you go to Duke, it's like, what, $100,000 a year? I mean, people go to school and pay the full boat there. They're coming out of school with $500,000 in debt.
I would say, too, if you're getting an endorsement deal over certain amounts, I always thought that, listen, if you leave school early, you should have to pay back some of the, almost as a penalty for leaving school early, especially if you're getting endorsements now.
So I'm seeing also part of this might be that the money could be deferred until after you leave school. And if that happens, that changes things as well, because now people are going to be in a rush to get their money if they're not getting it while they're in school.
Yes, the stipulation, too, like I said, is what's to stop a kid then saying, you know what, why do I need to do my junior and senior year, or if I'm gonna, if the money's waiting for me anyway. People think $1 million is a lot of money, whatever it be, but it's really, in the long term, it's really not. They'd have to be making, $5, $10, $15 million for them to be set, or at least
to it. To an 18-year-old kid, $1 million is life changing at that young age. They don't even know what that really is, and they see all that money and they go, holy cow.
They see cars, they see women, and we all did the same shit too. But you realize, in the long run, $1-2 million at that age won't last as long as you think it will.
No,
if you don't manage it right.
Listen, I don't think I don't think a majority of 18-year-old kids that are going to sign an endorsement deal for $1 million or whatever, close to it or above it, are going to manage that money wisely unless their parents lock it down.
No,
you put a star athlete with $1 million in the bank, and he's going to class, or he's on a team and he's a star. The money's definitely going to affect things.
Listen, if I had $1 million at 18 years old in college, it'd probably be a picture of my face instead of Al Pacino at the table with a pile of coke over it.
Oh boy!
So,
all right, let's move on. Next current event topic. How about the Trevor Bauer situation in LA?
Right now, there seems to be a lot of quiet on it, but it seems to me that this girl really enjoyed some kinky ass.
And I don't mean to laugh, because if the accusations are real and it's a legit thing where she was abused and assaulted and everything, I don't mean to laugh.
Yeah, I'm confused about it because, like I said, they already showed some text messages that showed she wanted to be hit and she wanted to be choked out and she wanted, so it's a tough situation because you don't know, you want to, you don't want to jump to presume who's guilty here, but I don't know if she wanted it that way and things got out of hand, or this is a setup, and not to just automatically back Bauer, but there is some text messages showing that she wanted some really rough stuff. So, and
there was a first encounter, and then there was a second encounter.
This wasn't even the first time. She went back again, and they say they're saying that she was choked out the first time, went back, and she enjoyed. So, so people saying, "Oh, he choked." Well, if he did it in the first sex session, and he did all this stuff, and she liked it, came back for a second, little rendezvous. that leads me to believe that something doesn't smell right here.
Right? It just if the first time is a bad time, why go back for the second time? And then
Yeah, and
make
if
the
the
second
first
time
time
a
was
bad
that
time
much
as
of a
well.
bad time, or he did like the same shit, then why not go to the police then? But like I said, is it text messages showing that she wanted it, a little more rough than most of us would have gone? But but it's kind of
And
weird punching in the vagina, and yeah, all
and
right.
Bauer's side is like, oh, when all of the facts come out, you're going to see that we didn't do anything wrong. I mean,
He doesn't
they're
seem too
confident.
he doesn't seem too concerned with it, which kind of leads me to believe that either he's a real sick bastard, or he's just telling the truth, and he's got proof of messages that say, listen, this girl wanted some crazy sex. It sounded like fun, you know.
It happens. I mean, it happened. We've seen it both ways. We've seen the bad with this, and like you go back to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson with something like this. Back in the day, he went to jail for rape,
Yeah, but
and
this was
then you see,
more Tyson.
you know,
Listen, it's kind of crazy because I think everyone now loves Mike Tyson, which is odd because he was Robin Givens, right? I mean,
he was married to Robin Givens.
he did beat the crap out of her and raped her. It's kind of a very odd situation because nowadays you mention Mike Tyson, everybody fucking loves him.
Everyone loves him, I think, because of what, the Hangover movies. I mean,
I think pretty
how did
much.
he get back in? Is that how he got back in the good graces of everybody?
I think so, but the reality of it is he did fuck Robin Givens up, and if this was the Me Too movement back then, he'd be vilified, probably rightfully so. But I think with the Bauer situation, I'm leaning to that this was just some crazy stuff that went awry, and this might be a little bit of a setup. Just if he didn't have the proof of the text messages, or at least they didn't leak some of the messages of what was said,
Yeah,
you understand, but it backs up some of what he said. I know they canceled Trevor Bauer bobblehead night. Maybe it gets replaced by
right.
Trevor Bauer butt plug night. I don't know. So we'll see.
Wow, coming out of left field with that one, literally.
My wife says there's something wrong with me.
She says there's something wrong with you. I think a lot of our wives will say that there's something wrong with us.
Right. Say mommy is a butthead.
Oh boy. Oh no.
All right. Back outside. That was a message from our sponsors.
All right. Well, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, Major League Baseball put him on that 7-day list where he was still getting paid and he didn't pitch. Then he got extended again for another 7 days where he's still getting paid, not suspended, but he can't pitch. Now they're into the All-Star break and he's not doing anything. Yeah. I mean, at what point is this guy going to be allowed? I mean, he's still making money, so I mean he's still getting paid. But at what point is he going to be able to play? I mean, either this investigation is going to wrap up rather soon, and they're going to go, okay, nothing is coming from it, or hey, we're going to charge him with A, B, and C crimes, and this is what we found out. I mean, eventually it's going to have to happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking that the longer this goes on, the less likely that he's going to be charged. Because if he didn't have these text messages as proof or anything, or I think he would have been charged already. I think there's a reason that they're delaying it because I think they're realizing that maybe this lady's just cuckoo. But I'm not going to not believe her. Just like I said, is let the facts come out and go with that.
All right, and now moving along, the Olympics are starting in about a week and a half, and it's going to actually be held without fans. And Russ, I know you've explained to me before your feelings on this. Go ahead, share it on the show.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I think that a lot of these athletes, more from our sponsors. I think a lot of these athletes, this is a dream of theirs. They're in sports that don't have the major league affiliations like a football or baseball does. This is their major. This is their Stanley Cup. This is their Super Bowl.
Yep.
This is everything they work for. So and families have helped out immensely. The sacrifices, I'm sure a lot of them, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 4 a.m., getting up, taking them to practices, whatever it be, gymnastics, tracking, whatever it be, traveling to wherever.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked them to basically have an option for like kind of a quarantine bubble
Okay.
for families, like immediate family. Obviously, parent or guardian, something like that. Say, listen, we'll let you come, but you have to have, 14-day waiting period, negative tests, and you're on this. You're basically locked in. I think a lot of parents would be willing to do that. I think it would be hard to do it as far as you'd have basically all this would be just regular hotels in the middle of cities. But at the same time, they've known about this for well over a year now.
They canceled it for well over a year. I mean, this should have been going on last year, right? COVID ruined the Olympics. This all.
I don't remember. Was it supposed to go on? I don't remember.
Yeah, COVID. There was supposed to be Olympics in 2020, and COVID, basically delayed it.
You know what? I think you're right because the World Cup is in 2022, and I believe that with soccer-wise, Summer Olympics and the World Cup, I think alternate every 2.
Yeah, because then the Winter Olympics would have been in 2022.
But either way, it's gonna kind of suck, especially for families of South America, North America, all the Canada, Mexico, U.S., and all the South American countries that this time zone is going to be screwed up. So,
we're going to be a day behind everything.
But like I said, it's kind of hard. Your kid gets into the Olympics, and you're not really going to get to see him, especially if you're not one of the main events too. You're only going to get so much on TV, But it is what it is. I guess that's their distinction, and at least we'll get to see some coverage.
Well, I'm definitely going to tune in. I'm not as big of a Summer Olympics fan as I am for the winter. I mean, I love my hockey, love the curling, all the winter stuff. The downhill skiing and everything. I like that much better than the summer. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like watching the swimming and some other stuff, but I like the Winter Olympics better. Just my personal preference. But definitely going to tune in and check it out. Now, this week in movies, Tomorrow War was a blockbuster with Chris Pratt came out.
Did you watch it?
I did not watch it.
All right,
but I did read the recaps. I did realize what it's about. It's a futuristic group of time travelers and some other stuff. But you did watch it, and you are going to give it a rating. So why don't you break it down for everybody who might not have seen it yet?
All right, so I did watch it. Solid action flick. I gave it a 7.9 out of 10.
Okay.
There were some character issues I didn't totally believe. It's hard to explain. But I guess they, some of the things they said Chris Pratt did in the movie in his past, I guess it didn't really fit his character. But other than that, it was good. Good little action flick. Wasn't cheesy at all. It was a little over, far fetched, sure, but I mean, listen, who doesn't love just a good action flick? And I like Chris Pratt, so if you like him, you like action movies. It was quite enjoyable. So 7.9 out of 10.
Okay, and then the other big movie this weekend was Black Widow.
Yes,
and that had Scarlett Johansson. You had Dave Arbers. It was a good tie-in for future movies with Yelena and Falcon, Winter Soldier's mysterious character Val, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, you read that totally wrong.
Yeah, definitely went wrong on that one.
Well, one of the side characters was Yelena, played by Florence Pugh. Played a very good character. They left it open and tied it in with Falcon and Winter Soldier's show. With the, I guess you'll find out who Val is played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Made a lot of money.
It made a lot of money. It was a decent Marvel movie, good solo movie. It wasn't the backstory I thought it was. It actually kind of took, not present day, it took before her dying. It took place before she died, but but then ties it in after as well with Yelena. David Arbors, who you would know from Stranger Things, he had a enjoyable character as Red Guardian, which is kind of like the Russian version of Captain America, but he was kind of enjoyable with that character, and I would like to see him again. So, but a good solo movie. My daughter enjoyed it. Would I watch it again? Absolutely. And like I said, they always find a way to tie these movies in going forward. And Marvel's done a great job with that. So,
All right, moving along, we're going to get to some hockey now. During the break, the Stanley Cup Finals concluded, and Tampa Bay, the Lightning, went back-to-back. Andrei Vasilevsky did win the Conn Smythe, and the last goalie to win that award was Jonathan Quick with the Kings. Russ, this really wasn't much of a series. It was 4-1, but I mean, I guess you could say honestly, the Stanley Cup playoffs really were decided with the Islander Tampa Bay winner, because if the Islanders came out of that series, we would be eating some crow right about now.
Probably. The Canadians blew their load with Golden Knights there. They didn't look like the same team. Price tried to hold them in, but Tampa was too much. And
he was the whole team.
Not to mention getting shut out twice by Vasilevsky. Like Kucherov said in his thing, their Stanley Cup was the last series. So
that guy is money. I got to tell you, makes $9.5 million a year, which I didn't know he made that much money as a goalie. I want to say the last four, every round this playoffs, and it might even have been the Cup final last year. The clinching games were shutouts, right?
Yeah, something like that. His last four series clinching games were shutouts.
I mean, this guy is absolute money in the playoffs. And the Kucherov press conference after was definitely something where he rants and raves about the Conn Smythe and Vasilevsky winning, and he's standing there looks basically naked, which the replays of it and the pictures from it, when I first saw the article pop up, and I was like, wait a minute, this guy doing an interview naked?
Yeah, he was in shorts, but he was quite hammed.
Oh yeah,
and
drinking a Bud Light.
I do laugh. The quote of their Montreal Stanley Cup was their last series. That came from him. He was hammed. He got a Bud Light deal out of it.
Yeah,
and I do kind of laugh. They took a picture of him at the boat parade. Was yesterday, and his shirt says 18 million over the cap. So they were running. they were running with this one. So their level of give a fuck was quite low.
You see, so that makes me think that circumventing the cap was, I guess, a joke with this team. They knew that what they did was wrong, but it was within the rules.
I don't know that it was. I don't believe that entirely. I just think that so many people brought that up with them winning that they kind of like, you know what? Well, fuck it. If that's what you want to hear, that's whatever. And I only read about this morning that 8 million of that 18 million was for Marian Gabourik's contract and Anders Nielsen's contract from Ottawa, that they took those contracts on.
So Stamkos and Kucherov didn't play for the whole season. So that money was placed on long-term IR.
Yes, along with Gabourik's and Anders Nielsen. I didn't have time to research. That's why I read this morning that 8 million of that 18 was their dead money in long time.
Really?
Because they're not, Nielsen's hurt and Gabourik's obviously done. I got to look that up to verify that, but I only saw that not too long ago. Today, so I'm looking at Cap Friendly right now, and their dead money, there's nobody listed. The only buyout history they have was Vincent Lecavalier, but there's nothing there. And the salary relief that they received from Anders Nielsen was $2.6 million.
I'm not seeing anything on Gaborik or anyone else on Cap Friendly.
Doing some quick investigative research.
But the Kucherov, so here the Kucherov cap hit was
December 2020.
Yeah.
The Senators landed Coburn and Paquette to the Lightning for Gaborik and Anders Nielsen. Tampa Bay long-term ITR total is now 17 million. Yeah, so they were on their long-term ITR. They acquired the contract of Marian Gaborik and Anders Nielsen from the Senators just after Christmas this year.
So those guys, along with Kucherov and Stamkos, who equaled 18 million.
Yeah, so it's not as egregious as you really think it is because they just acquired 2 contracts. Basically, I guess helping out the Senators in a way, I guess. That really didn't affect. So realistically, they weren't 18 million over the cap. They were more or less 10 million over the cap.
Still over the cap.
Yeah, so it's not as egregious as people think, but
well, going into next year now, this Tampa Bay team, I know you have the expansion draft coming up in about 10 days or so. But right now, if this team was to stay intact to go for the three-peat, you got $4 million in cap space into next year. And you got a bunch of unrestricted and restricted free agents that you have to sign. I mean, nobody big, but yeah, I mean, you have some guys. You got some holes you got to fill.
I still think there's some moves to be made. If it was me, I'm probably trading Stamkos.
He's always hurt, though.
That's what I'm saying. Is that contract is big. He's always hurt, and I don't think he's not the focal point of this team anymore.
So he's 31 years old, and he makes $8.5 million a year for the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is at this point, it's Kucherov and Braden Point and Vasilevsky. They're the core of this team. Stamkos is injured too much. It would make all the sense in the world for them to trade him and his contract and open things up.
I mean, you got Victor Hedman locked up for the next 4 seasons. You got Ryan McDonough locked up for the next 5 seasons.
That's what I'm saying. So you still have those 2 on leading your defense with Vasilevsky. If you're keeping Kucherov which obviously, Kuch 2 seasons now, been injured. There could be something there as well. But if anything, I see no point to keep Stamkos. I don't think he was a major force in the. I could be wrong, but I didn't see him as a monster force in the playoffs either. Scored a couple goals here and there.
Scored a couple of goals against the Islanders, right? And then that was it. It was kind of quiet.
But if it was me, I'm probably trading Stamkos at this point. Get rid of that contract. He's not the focal point of this team anymore. And
so let me tell you, Kucherov has a no-move clause. Stamkos has a no-move clause.
We talked about this damn no-move clauses.
Palat has a modified no-trade clause. Yanni Gourde has a no-trade clause. Tyler Johnson has a modified no-trade clause. Alex Killorn has a modified no-trade clause. Patrick Maroon has a modified no-trade clause. You also have Vasilevsky, Hedman, and McDonough with some part of a modified or full no-trade as well.
So something's got to be done. How does Yanni Gourde?
Someone's got to give with these guys. I mean, you can't keep all those guys. I mean, sure you could, but then you're going to lose somebody else along the way. Braden Point doesn't have a no move. You're going to have to end up making some kind of deal with Seattle that they don't take him if you're going to lock up these other guys. 7 forwards, 3 defense, and a goalie. They're basically there with these no moves.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation. Should have thought about that when I go down my whole trade Stamkos rant that I guess.
You never know.
So you never know. They can say, "Listen, where do you want to go? Just it's time, But see if players agree. But what do you call it?
I would love Braden Point on the Rangers. Tomorrow. That guy, the way he performed in the playoffs last year and this year is just amazing. He's not going to end up on the Rangers, but I would love him to be on our team.
Yeah. Speaking of moving on to, I guess yesterday, Jakub Voracek, Flyers requested a trade. and now he will not be protected against Seattle. So that could be big for Seattle. I think Voracek still got some stuff left in the tank. I think he just wore out his welcome, and
he was a good player.
I think Philly's just disgruntled right now.
So, with you brought in Alain Vigneault, which he's won games. He hasn't won the big game, but he's won games where he's been. He's the goalie killer, as people say. But you brought in a guy who gave respectability behind the bench to that team. They got a good young goalie. They got a good young core, and people expected them to be something. Not making the playoffs this year. Now you're hearing a lot of rumbling and a lot of upset voices coming out of Philly.
Yeah, especially after what you did. Last year. We expected them to come out of the East as one of the playoff teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, I don't know. I guess they're gonna reevaluate as they go too now, and we'll see what happens when the expansion draft comes and everything else. But that's another team that that division is just so stacked. The Rangers, the Islanders, everybody. Just Pittsburgh, Washington. I mean, it's like the division should be broken up into two. I mean, it's that bad for the Rangers and everybody else in there. I mean, the Devils. What are the Devils? The Devils are a good young team. They're not sniffing the playoffs anytime soon.
No, not at all. But I do have good news though.
Okay.
We don't have to listen to Pierre Maguire anymore. He was signed by the Ottawa Senators as their senior vice president of player development. Last time he coached was 95-96 in Ottawa as well, and didn't go very good. So but I think he's annoying as fuck. And I know a lot of people in the sports world do too. So, but that was the good news. Now for the bad news, there's some rumblings with the Blackhawks. My wife's dying.
I can hear her laughing from the other room.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you look at it here. It involves cock, I guess. Aldrich, one of their trainers, he's been accused of sexual assault, but not once, but like twice, and or a couple times by several different players. And the league's investigating it now. However, the Blackhawks taking a very odd route. I mean, they seem to be just washing their hands and want no part of it, saying it's, because it didn't involve a minor or different sex, they didn't have to report it, and they're taking a very odd stance on it. There's a couple of former players accusing this trainer of touching them inappropriately, not only on the Blackhawks, but he was also accused, I guess, on a college team as well. But right now, the Blackhawks are just completely denying it, want no piece of it, and just are pretty much trying to plead the fifth, and kind of looking bad on them if this guy really did, try to touch people.
I don't get how you just distance yourself from this. I mean, you got two players from your team in 2010. Now that's going back over a decade that are telling the Athletic, and everyone who will listen to them now that the video guy assaulted two other players. The Brent Sopel, a member of that team, tweeted out that the report was accurate. The Blackhawks gave this guy a letter of recommendation to move on from this team and go work somewhere else. And now that's part of this lawsuit as well, where the people involved are saying, well, if they knew about it, how could you give this guy a good recommendation?
Yeah, they're saying that the entire front office was made aware of this when it happened, that he turned on porn and started jerking off and then wanted the guy to get involved. The guy said no, and he threatened him. So very, very, very odd situation there.
So, I mean, the then president of the team and general manager and other executives, a skills coach, they were all in a meeting about this, according to what I'm reading on the Athletic, and nothing happened. I mean, how? These are the guys that run this team.
They were asked why they didn't report it, and one of them said that, well, it didn't involve a minor or didn't involve the opposite sex. They weren't obligated to report it, or so you're acknowledging that it happened, but you don't want to report it.
I mean,
now it's gonna bite you in the ass.
Brent Sopel on Twitter goes, the front office staff of this team should be in jail. The NHL is showing its true colors. Gary, I guess that means Gary Bettman, doesn't care about anyone but himself. This is absolutely disgusting that the NHL is doing nothing. I mean, this guy is trashing the league and the team, and the Blackhawks response to this is, oh, well, the statute of limitations is up, and we really can't do anything about this. That's not the right way to handle this. I mean, you're going to open up a huge lawsuit for your league and your team and everyone else involved when this goes, because this is huge.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
The Tampa Boat Parade happened today, and I don't know if you saw this, but pictures are now circulating that I guess in Patty Maroon's three-peat, he got a little too drunk and apparently dented the cup. This is when they have dropped it and damaged the cup, so we'll find out more about that. But
that happens every now and then.
Some people starting to call Tampa Bay now Tampa Bay, or at least Champa Bay. Since Tom Brady's moved to Tampa, they got 2 Stanley Cups, the Buccaneers Super Bowl, and the Devil Rays. Oh, the Tampa Bay Rays went to the World Series. So wherever he goes, he brings titles or chances to titles. So kind of funny. But they had their boat parade today. Looked like they had a lot of fun.
Throwing some footballs and everything else they were throwing from boat to boat. It seems to be the thing going on in Tampa now with all these parades.
I said, a bunch of them wearing the $18 million over the cap shirt. There was a couple other custom shirts made. I forgot to find one. One had to do with Kucherov's press conference and calling the stuff bullshit. So looks like they had a good time, and hey, they got 2 cups, and we were talking about they have to do something to rectify their cap situation and sign everybody. But I guess at this point, they won two straight cups. Breaking up the team is, I guess it really doesn't matter what you do now for a while. You got 2 Stanley Cups, so we'll see what happens with them. And then
there was a big trade, Russ, today in the NHL as well.
Yes, there was. Duncan Keith got traded to the Edmonton Oilers for a 3rd round. Somebody else, Jerry.
Caleb Jones, who is the younger brother of Seth Jones, who is unhappy in Columbus. And people are now saying that Seth Jones is going to make his way to Chicago to play with his brother.
All right. That'd be kind of cool. Does this put Edmonton over the edge? I don't know. How much Duncan Keith has left in the tank? I don't know.
People bashed this trade on Twitter today. I mean, the fact that Edmonton made this deal and there was no salary retained, seems like that the GM Ken Holland got bent over a barrel, so to speak, because the Twitter peanut gallery was just crushing him on this deal.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really been kind of feeling under the weather today, so I was napping while you texted me this.
No, he's got two years left on his deal, and it's at $5.5 million a year.
And he's already 34.
I want to say 37.
All right, I was way off.
Yeah, 37. And,
how much does he have less in the tank? Unless they just want another veteran presence there, with Darnell Nurse and whatnot. And
they're talking about teaming him up with Adam Larson on the back end if they re-sign him and making that their top pair.
All right, it might work. I think what do you call it? Who'd they have in that? Was it Mike Smith had a good year, wasn't it?
Mike Smith's now a free agent.
I personally, they probably should have never got rid of Cam Talbot. I think Cam Talbot played very well for them, and then now he's bounced around. They probably should have kept him. But if Smith's a free agent, then obviously they have to lock that position up because they gave him Koskinen fucking that weird deal before Chiarelli got fired.
Koskinen has 1 year left on his deal. He's 32 years old. He's got a $4.5 million cap hit for next year.
Nobody was a fan. That was the old GM. What was it, Chiarelli or whatever the hell he was?
Yeah, Chiarelli.
Chiarelli before he got fired there.
Yep.
And everyone questioned that deal himself because he never even ended up being the starter.
Yeah. And if you're paying him 4.5, what are you paying Mike Smith if you're re-signing him?
And Mike Smith's a wild card. He had a good year this year, but he's been all over the place. He's up there too. He's getting old too.
Yeah, Mike Smith is 39. I mean, I don't even know if he's going to hang him up yet. He might be done after this.
Yeah, it's funny to hear too. People like, oh, he's 39. He's over the hill. He's way down. 38 here. That's great. Moving on, I guess the NBA Finals. The Suns were dominating, took a 2-0 lead, and then a ridiculous performance from Giannis last night gave the Bucks a 120-100 win to make it a series again. So it's, I guess, the Suns in full didn't pan out.
No, it didn't.
I watched yesterday. It was no, not yesterday. The other day, some person tweeted in let's say 2016 or whatever the hell it is, that the Bucks would beat the Suns in the 2021 NBA Finals.
Get out of here! No way.
Yes, it was circulating the internet the other day that somebody called this, and I forgot what the score is. What the score was, but it said the Bucks would beat the Suns in Game 7 of the 2021 NBA Finals, and this was like a tweet from I gotta find it. If I can find it, if it isn't over, I'll find it for next.
So some random Joe Blow just puts out 5 years ago that the Suns and the Bucks are going to go to the NBA Finals this year, and not even that. I mean, just picking that combination and that prediction 5 years ago, anyone would have said you were insane. But on top of that prediction, they also predicted that the Bucks are going to win in 7. And right now we got a series 2-1. I'm telling you, a lot of people thought this series was wrapped up after that 2-0 lead for Phoenix. They thought Suns in 4, it's over.
Yeah, so Jared Plummer, where's my camera? Tweeted November 3rd, 2016, 2001 NBA Finals, Bucks versus Suns Game 7. Bucks win 123-115.
If that happens,
if that happens, if that happens, this guy's a fucking time traveler.
All right, so hold on. You're the gambler here. So you're the gambler. So can you pick the final score of a game? Can you bet that on a website?
Yeah, but it's not usually like that. It depends on what it is.
I'm thinking out loud.
I don't bet basketball, so you can. So I don't bet basketball, but you can do it with soccer and World Cup. When France beat Croatia 4-2, I had $20 on France to win 4-2. I paid out $1,700 over $20.
What?
I just threw it on there for shits and giggles, and it fucking hit. So I don't know if you can do final score like that. It might give you by 10s or by 5s. Like you'd say, I mean, you can still it'll be the point spread and whatnot. I've never done it with basketball, so I don't know. I'm assuming say Bucks by 1, Bucks by 2, Bucks by 3, Bucks by 4, but I don't think there's an option to be Bucks 123 to 117.
Well, I would think honestly, if this goes to Game 7, you're going to get people betting that the Bucks are going to win by that point spread, if they can.
That you can do too.
You're going to get that. You're going to get the Bucks winning, and that spread. But that's unbelievable. I mean, Russ, why don't we just start tweeting out some random no-name teams for 10 years from now, and let's just see if it hits. I mean, damn, it'd be a funny story. We're not going to bet on it now, but hey, if we could bet on something like that 5 years from now and throw $1 on it, could we do it?
I don't think you can. Normally, the futures bets are for that upcoming year. Unless you got some degenerate bookie that says, "Hey, let's throw $1 on it." I don't even think you could do it. Although, on a side note, there was today at the Borgata, yesterday at the Borgata, some idiot posted his failure. He put $300 on Italy to win at plus $1,200 odds, not realizing that he put it on Italy to win the fucking World Cup, not the Euros. not realizing there's a difference. So this guy has a $300 bet for Italy to win the World Cup. It's got to wait a while.
Well, this was Euro 2020 in 2021, right?
Yes, it does make sense.
Whole different argument, whole different set of confusion. But
Yeah, I don't get that one.
so he made that bet. It's well in advance. It's in the future. He can't cancel it.
I don't know. I don't think so. Normally, it's when you make a bet, that's it. It's your own fault. It's your own fault that you fucked it up.
Okay.
So, the MLB heads into the All-Star break. Right now, the Giants hold the best record in baseball, which is a little surprising. I guess. Shuei Ohtani is got it. I would think he's got to be the MVP at this point. He is just killing the ball and pitching extremely well. I don't think he's going to win the Cy Young. I don't think he has, but he's still doing it from pitching perspective and the hitting perspective, especially. He's just a monster right now. And I think we talked about this earlier. How long are they going to waste? Ohtani and Trout. Trout's going to, I'd imagine that you probably got a couple more years, and then Trout might start the decline. But at this point, you got two of the best players in baseball. You got to start thinking about getting something around them to win.
Their owner is a guy that spends money. I would think, honestly, this free agent class coming up, you got to sign two big name pitchers, and you go with these two guys that are mashing the ball, and one of them is a pitcher as well. So your top three would be insane.
Yeah, you got to spend the money. Can't waste them.
I mean, look at that division. You have Houston, which cheating or not, okay, fine. They're a good team. They're in first. They're at the top of the division. They're in the race with the Oakland Athletics. They're going to be in the mix. But you got Oakland with no payroll in first.
They still keep doing it. It's that Billy Bean thing. He keeps putting together great regular season teams out of nothing, out of these no-name players that turn into names. But then the sad part is that they always seem to collapse in the playoffs. But he keeps getting them there. He keeps rebuilding, like practically year after fucking year.
Yeah.
Getting there. But on a side note, you just reminded me as well. The Yankees went into Houston this past weekend, and I think they took 2 out of 3. But did you see the giveaways the Houston Astros were giving for the fans?
I know the Yankees gave away the game in Game 3 to blow the sweep, but I didn't see what the giveaway was from the home team. No.
That was a walk-off by Altuve, I believe.
Yeah, they gave away that game.
No, I'm talking about giving away. So Game 1 against the Yanks, they gave away replicas of the ALCS 2019 trophy, which they won against the Yanks. In Game 2, they gave away the replica rings from the ALC championship. And then for the Game 3, they, for the first 10,000 fans, got a Jose Altuve jersey replica. They did a little trolling themselves. And I know Aaron Judge did respond by mashing a home run and pretend to try to keep his jersey on as he came around third. So there was definitely some good trolling going on there. So
yeah, they got a little rivalry.
And then along with the back's killing me. Everything's killing me. My freaking head's all gunked up. We were going to move to the ESPYs here, and my brain went blank. So before I guess we get to that, you got the home run derby tonight. I think the big show will be between Ohtani and I think Polar Bear, Pete Alonso. I think that'll be fun to watch for a little bit. So other than that, I didn't look too much into the snubs we were talking about. I know the kid Bassett from Oakland, he's got like 9 wins. He's like in the top 10 in ERA and strikeouts, and helped leading Oakland to the first place that they're in. He got snubbed, but I'm not sure what else is on there. I haven't paid too much attention to it other than just the general standings and beings of what's going on.
They were talking about Tawan Walker being a big snub. I mean, sure, he's there now because Jacob deGrom's not going, but I mean, Tawan Walker put a good first half up and wasn't even included in the initial roster. And if deGrom's going to the All-Star game, Tawan Walker's not even making it there. But he was named as a replacement 2 days ago due to Jacob deGrom saying he's not going to go. That was that was a big snub that I was thinking about in the NL, and that's not even just the Met and New York connection from where we are. But I mean, he's put a good season together for them. There's no Syndergaard for the Mets yet. Carrasco's been nowhere to be found. So honestly, I mean, you got Tawan Walker and deGrom, who's also been hurt, carrying the load for this team. We talked about this before. The Mets are 6 games up. How? Is the division that bad?
Yeah, I don't know. I keep thinking the same thing.
When is the wheels going to fall off? Because you, as a Met fan, you're expecting it, right?
I haven't felt like the wheels have totally been on, and we were kind of trudging along. And I don't know. Hey, listen, I'll take it. You know, like I said, no lead is safe. You could have a 6-game lead with 5 games left, and I'd still doubt it.
Well, I would think the Mets, the teams below the Mets are going to reload at the trade deadline. You're going to see it's close. The division's up for grabs.
You didn't even catch that, did you?
I didn't hear what you said. No.
We could have a 6-game lead with 5 games left. I'd still doubt
it. Oh, come on. I missed that one. No, but the Mets are going to be chased. The teams below them are going to reload. They're gonna upgrade their teams.
Yeah, but you got to remember something too. I think the Braves just their season just went down the shitter with the loss of Acuna.
That's true.
Yeah, he was one of their best players, and so I think they're going to tumble. Philly's just Philly. You think Bryce Harper and Real Muto, they would, get their act together, but they don't seem to be doing anything special either.
Nope.
And that's about it. Florida's just whittling away down there. It's about the only Florida team not doing well.
Well, they got Tampa Bay. I mean, they got the Rays. So, I mean, the Marlins are, redheaded stepchild, basically, those guys.
So, I guess moving along, I guess I didn't watch them. I must think you watched them.
Are they even on TV? Are they even on TV? I mean,
apparently, I used to watch them religiously as a kid, and then I didn't even know they were up. But it's a little confusion. Ohtani was named the best MLB player, and my question is, when were these voted on? Because last year he was okay, he was good, but not best MLB player. This year,
the guy had Tommy John surgery. I mean, he hasn't been the best player until now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when was this voted on? That you name him the best player, and how would not deGrom? It was Trevor Bauer, Corey Seager, which makes no sense to me. Seager was good, but not like I wouldn't throw Corey Seager as the best player in MLB. Jose Abreu was up there, which is understandable. He had a monster year. But deGrom, 2 straight Cy Youngs, and then comes in, second or third in Cy Young voting. So I don't understand why he wouldn't. And then you got Steph Curry was voted best NBA player when you had Nikola Jokic had a monster year and really ran away with the MVP title. The voting wasn't even close.
Yeah.
But the biggest puzzling thing is Patrick Kane named best NHL player. Is this like 2012, 2013? The guy's like, all right, the guy's still great. He maybe like a top 10-ish, maybe, but not.
Yeah, if anything, not really relevant anymore.
If anything, if you're talking best players in the NHL, it's a fight between McDavid, freaking Matthews, and McKinnon, pretty much.
And those are the big 3.
Even so, just Patrick Kane. Who votes this shit? I love Patrick Kane. Great.
When they won 3 cups in 5 years, he was golden. I mean,
one of the best American-born players. Not the best, one of the best. I'm not going to upset the Mike down people because I loved him too. But who the hell's voting in this? Patrick Kane, best NHL player now. It's not like 5 years ago. Sure. Yeah. Now, no, he fucking wipes my ass. All right, you want to get into some stock stuff here? I gotta take off for a sec. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into some stock stuff. Obviously, the Big news story with stocks lately is the looming OTC pink current deadlines. And basically, come September 28th, if the OTC company is not pink current, you're going to be in some trouble if you own their stock. Today, 55 tickers were suspended from trading. 55. That's a lot. I mean, there's 11,000 OTC tickers that are on the OTC exchange right now, and just out of the blue today, bang, 55 were hit. So there's an email that started circulating today also from TD Ameritrade stating that they are not waiting for any September deadline. If you trade stocks on TD Ameritrade, August 13th is going to be a big day for you. And their email today said that August 13th, they are limiting the non-pink OTC tickers to sell only. That is 1 month from tomorrow. It's July 12th. August 13th is 1 month from tomorrow. Now, I'm not even going to bring up ticker names, but ones that we've mentioned on this show dozens and dozens of times, and some tickers that we haven't mentioned at all on this show are going to come into play in a month. E-Trade, I use E-Trade for my trading. They sent out their own version of this email several months ago. That email was dated May 19th, and their email stated that after September 28th, which is the big deadline everyone's been hearing about, you will not be allowed to trade non-pink. Now, that means buy and sell. So if you own a OTC stock that is non-pink after September 28th, you are not going to be able to buy or sell on E-Trade. And TD Ameritrade, you are only going to be able to sell only. As far as Charles Schwab and some other companies, I'm going to get into them next week. I'll do a full dive. I'm going to see what the other platforms are saying about this. But the two big ones that are making news today were E-Trade and TD Ameritrade. Then also, just to keep your eye on a couple of stocks with some news coming. I mentioned this several weeks ago on the OTC watch list. ESPY, which was mentioned, they have a wristband that is hopefully going to replace a CPAP machine. So any day now, a merger with SleepX is expected to be announced. I know that their website was down earlier today, and people are speculating that it's because they're redoing the website. They got some big announcements coming any day now, and press releases will be dropping soon. So keep an eye on that. As far as TGGI, we recently discussed this as well.
As a person with a CPAP machine,
okay,
kind of interested to see what wristband does that's going to replace the CPAP machine. But
so I looked it up. Apparently, the wristband is going to work in conjunction with your breathing. And when your breathing is out of whack now with a wristband on, it's going to send some kind of signal or something to get your breathing back in line. It's it's in depth. I don't know how a wristband is going to control your breathing from your wrist.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm a little skeptical, but I hope it works. I wish nothing but great things to them and my 20,000 shares.
I knew that's where we were going with this.
Well, unless I am a CPAP user, so it is kind of, it could be beneficial to me in two ways, financially and health-wise.
I do say that you should trade with things you use, whether it's Disney. They're involved in sports, they're involved in vacations, they're involved in a whole bunch of things. So Disney, if you shop at Target or you fly on JetBlue, that's the way I like to trade. Things I'm involved in, I'm trading with. That's just my personal opinion.
All right, so then you're definitely going to be involved in the KY jelly and
the Sure. Loading up on that and the stock as we speak. Yes. Moving along.
My wife's beside herself in the other room.
I'm sure she is. I could hear her from here.
The other one is a big one. I think we're all big into the TGII. Let's discuss a little more of that.
So I know some people that have millions of shares of TGGI, and I'm still learning about it. But
Yes, millions of shares, and I am not one of them.
I'm not one of them either. I'm not one of them. But we know a guy with 28 million shares, which, I mean, it goes for $1. Hello. I'm moving next to that guy. But TGGI recently, and we've discussed this the last few episodes, but last few months they've brought in under their umbrella of things a pharmaceutical company, an agricultural company, a liquor company, and they recently reaffirmed their intent for NASDAQ. Now, like I stated before a few episodes ago, they did have that 3-year plan that they announced in 2019 that by the end of next year they want to be uplisted to NASDAQ, and they're not going to do reverse splits to get there. Two of their latest acquisitions have exceeded NASDAQ requirements. They have a liquor company that's working with the great Jackie Chan. We all know who that is from the movies. And their advertising budget is $46 million. Think about that when I tell you that the market cap of this company is only $30 million. Their advertising budget is more than what they're worth. So eventually the stock price is going to go above.
Yeah, they have plans to make it bigger. So
that one, I'm watching closely.
I love when you say the 3-year plan, because all I think in my head is fucking, what was it, Big Daddy? It's a 5-year plan. Don't die.
And then they're in Hooters.
I do want to bring up, though, you're talking about all this stuff with the pink current and them E-Trade and TD shutting it down. I guess for the normal people out there like me who are not financial analysts and know how to read all this shit, basically, from my perspective, is what happened is that everyone got on these meme coins that are like 0.0006 cents.
Oh yeah,
and
I can name 4 off the top of my head right now that are complete scams. But yeah,
some people that made a bunch of money off of it, and I think over the last year, this is starting to transfer to OTC markets. People are looking for these stocks. The reason that they're in OTC markets is because they're less. Is it less than 10 cents?
OTC is stocks that are not on NASDAQ, not on the Amex, not on the New York Exchange.
What I'm saying is it's usually because they're under 10 cents.
Well, that's not always the case. I mean, there are a lot that are under certain.
For the most part, the OTC markets are littered with stocks that are 0.003 cents,
sure.
0.008 cents, 0.1. So people started, I think, jumping into those and hoping that now I got 115,000 shares, and if it goes to $1, shit like that. And I think that's part of the reason that E-Trade and TD are doing this, because a lot of people are going to end up losing their money. And the reason for the pink current thing is that pink current basically means that your company is a real company. There's a lot of people out there that created shell companies to trade at 0.006 cents, and they went up to 3 cents. People made a boatload of money, and all of a sudden they mysteriously go out of business because they never were a real company. And I think that's what E-Trade and TD are trying to do, is weed out those companies that, even though this is a market for companies that are small, they don't want people investing into basically joke companies that aren't even real to begin with.
So
would you say that's more of an accurate layman's term?
So the SEC actually came down with a ruling that if your company is not pink current, you're not going to be traded. And now these platforms are going by that. That's how this all started. As far as the deadlines with like TD Ameritrade having an August deadline and not the September deadline, that's a TD Ameritrade policy that they're implementing. The SEC policy is by September 28th, if you're not pink current, your platforms can and will limit the trading on these stocks. So come that date, if you're not pink, you go into the gray markets, which is basically another variation of OTC that many platforms aren't going to entertain, aren't going to carry, and aren't going to allow you to trade their stock. So for argument's sake, and I'm not even going to pick the tickers that we've spoken about because I don't want to send anybody into a downward spiral of a rabbit hole, so to speak, and full-fledged panic and sell-off tomorrow. But if certain stocks that we've talked about come September 28th aren't pink, they go into the gray markets. And when E-Trade tells you, hey, it's now the 29th or the 30th or even October 1st, and you can't buy or sell or do anything with the billion or million or whatever shares you have in your account for various OTC companies that are not pink, you're going to see a panic. You're going to see, Twitter world is going to explode because people aren't going to be prepared for this. When they've been saying it for, a year buildup, basically, or 9-month buildup from last December until this coming September, that this is the case. So, yes, TD Ameritrade is going to limit it to sell only in August. E-Trade is going to limit it altogether by the September SEC deadline. I'm going to look into what Charles Schwab is implementing as well. I haven't seen what they do, and I do have a Schwab account. I have to look into the emails and stuff that they've sent. I haven't really paid attention to it. But this is not just a stock issue for your platform. It's a stock issue for everybody. Regardless of where you trade, if you're not paying current, you're going to be in for a headache. Because, yes, real companies, and there are a few. We've had people on this show say, hey, 90% of OTC is a scam. 90% of OTC is fake. Or just a reason for guys to raise money and then dilute and run off with the bag. So, yes, that does happen. That's not the case with every OTC. And there's 11,000 plus of them. So there are some legit companies mixed in. And the guys that are pink current, that every 3 months drop a filing on financials, every year have disclosures, they report everything to the SEC with who their insiders are and how many shares are owned by those guys and sold and everything else. Those are the legit companies. You want to look up TGGI, go look them up. You want to look up, APYP, go look them up. Another one that I want to get into real quick is Demand Brands. It's D-Man. They are going to be representing at a conference within the next few weeks, and they're also going to be announcing their investor deck. Now, that's another one to keep an eye on. Right now, it's trading at 4 cents. So I'm not going to start recommending these fake companies, shell companies, or companies that haven't dropped a filing in 11 years on this show. I'm not going to do that. But be aware of the scams. Be aware of the companies that don't report anything, because if you own any of them, in the next month or two, you're in for a world of hurt. And I hope that's not anybody that we know. I hope it's not you. I know it's not going to be me. But for anybody who is taking a chance on a company that's not reporting, not dropping filings and everything else, look out, because the floor is going to come out from under you. The rug is getting pulled. Whether it's in August or September, the rug is getting pulled. Guaranteed. I hope that clarified everything for you, Russ.
Yes. I got an alert, the rumor that Apple bought $2.5 billion in Bitcoin.
They did?
It's a rumor right now.
I wonder what that does to the price. Because, Bitcoin has just gotten crushed the last few months.
They all have. To be honest with you, ever since Doge got listed on Coinbase, everything's kind of going down.
I wanted to ask you about that. So I'm not into crypto. That's just my own personal preference. There's a show on Netflix I started watching, and it's called Startup. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
So it's basically, and I don't even know who the actors are. I'm three or four episodes in, maybe 5 tops. I just started watching it the other day. Basically, this girl creates a crypto coin and goes and gets an investment from somebody in the neighborhood for $300,000. And then another guy involved with her gets an investment from his girlfriend's dad's friend for $1.5 million. So they have $1.8 million in the bank in crypto, and they're going to take this coin company public. They're going to make it a big thing. And within the first 5 episodes, and I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but within the first 5 episodes, they get hacked, and the $1.8 million goes bye-bye.
Oh, geez.
So me not being the crypto guy, that's exactly what I think is going to happen the minute I get into crypto. And I'm sure it's not. I'm sure all these guys are legit and have all their stuff locked down. But this girl was running a crypto company out of her mom's garage and got hacked for $1.8 million. And look it up. It's on Netflix. It's called Startup. It's 3 seasons in. I'm about 5 episodes in. And it touches on crypto so far in the first 5 episodes. Definitely getting hooked on it. I'm sure, you know what, I haven't even looked it up yet, but I'm sure after the 3 seasons are done, it got canceled, and it was like a major cliffhanger, and I'm going to be screwed. That's just my luck with TV shows. All right, so let's get to the videos of the week, Russ. What do you got for us?
All right, this will end our show. So right now, I have a killer headache, and I think my back can't take it anymore. But we have our drunk idiots of the week. We'll start with the lovely derriere dancer, who needs to be more aware of her surroundings. There. We'll give that to you real quick again in case you missed it, but I think she's going to have an interesting time underneath that boat. So
now, if you're listening to us on Spotify, you have to go to YouTube and subscribe to the page and watch the replay of the stream, because you're going to be completely lost when it comes to these videos at the end of the shows. But just for you guys that aren't watching it, it's basically a girl shaking her ass and falling off the back of a boat drunk, while a guy's standing there watching, holding a beer.
He's like, oh, I gotta put the beer down.
He didn't help her. He didn't help her at all.
Wife,
she just fell in the water.
My wife was just trying to watch and went away. I was like, oh, snooze, you lose. And then here is our second drunk idiots of the week of trying to pour the jungle juice over the balcony. Gone wrong.
Oh, here we go.
She's pretty as hell, though. Damn!
Oh! We'll load that up again real quick, sissy. These videos are so quick. I wish they need to make it so you can rewind them and not have to reload it.
She's pretty as hell, though. Damn!
Oh!
It hits her in the face, right?
Yeah, she definitely got a black eye from that.
Wow.
This one ran longer. She got up and walked away. She took it like a champ. Guess she's used to taking things to the face.
I was just going to say, it might not be the first thing that's hit her in the face. I hear that laughing.
All right.
I'm in tears because I hear her laughing in the other room. Is she all right?
Oh, God. You see when you
What'd she say?
fell on the ice in front of the house. When you fell on the ice in front of your house. Your camera.
You know what? Just for her. Next week, I will play that video. And for the people who haven't seen it, it's basically me walking out my front door, and it was icy and snowy, and it was probably like, I don't know, 4 a.m, going to work. I got a real job. This isn't what I do. And basically closed the door, went to turn around to make sure the door closed, and my feet went out from under me. So I will dig up that video just for you guys next week. And for her, I will absolutely play it on the show. And she can laugh all she wants.
All right.
Hi.
I got this. I got Woggies.
All right. That's enough. All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. That'll wrap up episode number 15. We'll be back next week. You can watch a replay of this on YouTube. The audio from the show will be uploaded to Spotify tomorrow. And until next week, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you then. Good night, everybody.